coming to you every week from no place in particular. It's the best, worst thing you've never seen. This is the Forever Road Podcast, featuring Bosco. Find us on some great platforms like iHeart, Spotify, and even more as we keep growing. Now, pointed down that Forever Road, he's a music lover, a historian, and a connoisseur of the obscure. It's Bosco, here on the Forever Road Podcast.
Well, I'm having some difficulties. I'm having some difficulties. I'm trying to get my camera back working. I don't know what happened. Hang on. Don't know why. Can y'all hear me in the chat? I don't know who's watching. Bear with me. All right, Tyler. Thank you. Trying to figure out what happened. Like I had visual and then it went away. There we go. There we go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Brother Tyler's in the chat. Uncle Jerry, nice to see you. Glad you were here. Hope everything is going great with everyone. I hope everyone, I know we're about 2 weeks behind, but, there you are. Yeah, I'm here. I know I'm about 2 weeks behind, but I have been extremely busy. Things have been going crazy at the shop, and I've been trying to move, getting bigger stuff. I had some great help from a buddy of mine. Some great help from a good buddy of mine, getting all my bigger furniture and stuff like that, getting my extra toolboxes put in the storage, getting ready to put this house on the market, and I'm not sweating. I got a window unit right over here. I hope y'all don't hear it or anything, but I hadn't even put it on the market yet. It's going to be this week. Later this week, it's going on the market. So, Tyler, if you want to buy a house down in Georgia, get out of Canada, come on down. I'll sell you a house. No, you good. So, today's topic, I know we got a lot to cover and a little bit to catch up on. I've done a lot of research on my favorites, musical artists, one of my favorites anyway, who actually had a big influence on a lot of other artists. So that being said, it's more like you got to start from the beginning. And y'all know how I am fascinated with the whole outlaw movement, especially in music and in the automotive scene. 50,000 American, you could probably get, boy, I don't know about that. I don't know what. Yeah, you couldn't get much down here, and it's on. This is on the low side. So we're going to talk about Waylon Jennings. We're going to talk a little bit about Father's Day, and I hope everybody had a wonderful Father's Day. I don't know. Can I? Can you get it? There's Marine's blood. I got Marine's blood and Tyler in the chat. That's all we need is Brother Turtle. And we got Uncle Jerry here. And I think we'll be good at that point. I don't know. Can I get dinged for the movie? He actually. Here, let me I can take care of that real quick. I don't know. I can take care of that video real quick. I had a pretty lazy, pretty good chilled, relaxing Father's Day myself. Y'all remember Bubba Doo? He was here. We went out. He said, "Come on, let's go get something to eat." Went out for a steak. First time I talked him into filet mignon. It was the first time he ever had it, and he was very, very impressed. He said, "Man, I don't think I'll ever eat another steak a different way, unless somebody else is providing it." Yeah, thank you, Tyler, for looking out for me, brother. Man, so I've had a lot going on, man. I mean, really, I on the automotive scene on my projects. Y'all remember I had bought a Ram Charger a while back from Dan Atkinson. You all remember him? So I got the Ram Charger here, got the front end and all that put together, and I was kicking around an idea of putting a 364 barrel in it, and I kind of lean more towards I want more horsepower, more torque, modern. So I've had this Hemi, this 5.7 Hemi out of the 2012 Ram that I bought from another buddy of mine. And I know the bottom end needs to be built. I don't have a problem with that. I'm an engine guy. I could rebuild it, no problem. Well, I originally was going to sell that. And if y'all remember, I was talking about like my favorite trucks, Little Red Express. The 364 barrel that I got came out of a Little Red Express. That's right, more power. And I will get to that in a minute. And I was originally going to sell it back to the guy I got it from, because he reached out to me. He said, "Hey, do you still have the engine?" I said, "Yes." I said, "I'll give you." He said, "Well, give me a week. Let me see if this deal comes through with this other truck." I said, "All right, sounds good." Friday came around. He said the truck got bought out for whatever reason. He didn't get it. I said, "All right." So I put it on Marketplace. A few days later, this guy reached out to me. He came all the way out here. He came and got the engine. So he will have a numbers matching Little Red Express whenever he goes with his. But I took that money and flipped it right back around to do the Hemi swap for my Ram Charger, which is yet to be named. I need to figure out a good female name for that truck. I got Lucille, which is my 2007 truck. I got the General, which could kind of go either way. And then my old 87, I did name it Little Martha after my grandmother. But I think, can you use a vehicle name twice? Or is that just like no, my stepmom's name is Betsy, so that's out. So no Betsy's, Carol's, that's my mom's name. No Lachey's, no Sherry's, no Jennifer's, no Lisa's, Christy's, Christine's definitely out. That's about all of them. Amber's, no, those are out. I don't know. Can you use the same name for another vehicle? Does it matter? What do y'all think? Anyway, I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna put that in a short video later on. See what the general consensus is. So here we are, Forever Road Podcast, and I'm gonna say this again. We're live on YouTube, mostly on Sundays. Today's Monday, I know, but I was very busy yesterday. I couldn't get done what I had to do in that big square box of cheese Penske truck and get back in time, because then I'd be live at 10 o'clock at night. And pretty sure y'all probably wouldn't be on here. Maybe Marine's blood. He might be at work or something that late. But so I got on here. Oh yeah, what I was gonna say. Go on to Spotify, where you are found on iHeart, which I need to update those episodes. I'm a few behind, and I apologize. Spotify, iHeart, right here on YouTube. Follow us if you're on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. So, with that being said, in the comments below, what's your favorite Waylon? If you remember who Waylon Jennings is, also, what's your favorite Waylon Jennings song? Or let's see. I was holding my breath all day for you. Well, I'm sorry. So let's cover a little bit of today in music history. Which the biggest headline, and I caught this right when I got home. Mick Ralphs. Some of you younger crowd probably don't even know who that is. Founding guitarist and key songwriter for rock groups Bad Company and my favorite name of a band, Mott the Hoople, who played on hits ranging from All the Young Dudes, Mott the Hoople, and all the way from Memphis to Can't Get Enough, Feel Like Making Love, Rock and Roll Fantasy, has passed away. He was 81. This is straight from the article, so it's nothing that I just picked it up right when I got home. His family issued a statement confirming the news, but did not provide a cause, date, or place of death. He had a stroke in 2016 and had been living in a nursing home for some years. Bad Company was voted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year and will be inducted in November. Matter of fact, I caught the news when I was going through Facebook, and it was posted on Leonard Skinner's Facebook page, how they toured and all the memories and stuff like that. Ralph's co-founded Bad Company was with his ex-Free singer, Paul Rogers, bassist Boz Burrell, and drummer Simon Kirke. In 1973, the group had a meteoric rise, becoming the first band signed to Led Zeppelin's Swan Song Records and scoring number one LP in the U.S. with its self-titled 1974 set. It also reached number 3 in the UK and spawned a pair of hit singles with Can't Get Enough and Moving On, which are great songs. Personally, my favorite song by Bad Company is Bad Company. There's what was that song? The Sky's Burning. We ain't got to talk about how old Uncle Jerry is. We just know he's, Oh, and I meant to give this lady a shout out too. I saw these being posted on Facebook, and I got to remember the company name. They did a fantastic job with this. It's a lady that I saw these custom cups, and they look like wood barrels. Hang on. Let me see if I can't find it. I'm looking. All right. If you go on Facebook and you look for Southern Signature, they made this cool cup for me. One-stop shop for personalized gift and so much more. No orders too big or small. We love making you happy. We'll go above and beyond for all of our customers. They are based out of Statesboro, Georgia, I believe. It's not too far from here. She's made some pretty cool stuff. I sent her a picture of the Forever Road podcast logo. And y'all are witnessing the first time. Look at this. Sorry for the glare. I'm going to try to make it a better shot. Can y'all see that pretty good? It will hold 2 Coors beers. So she made it, and that's the first piece of merchandise. I can't afford to get a whole bunch of them, but I'm going to try to figure out some way to get some kind of decals. I know everybody loves decals. You can put them on your toolbox at work. You can put them on your fridge, stuff like that. But if I wasn't to venture into that, y'all let me know. Let me know in the comments. If you're listening to this, go on to Spotify or go on our Facebook page and or send me a message on Facebook or Instagram, or even foreverroadpodcast@gmail.com. Let me know. And I'll see about, I don't want to charge y'all too much because everybody works. Everybody's blue collar. I get it. And I'm not going to make a dime off of them. I just want to get y'all some merch. You know what I mean? If y'all want to support some merch, I want to make. If I charge you $5, that's what I'm gonna. If I had to pay $5 per sticker, for example, that's what I'm going to charge, $5 per sticker. I'm not going to make off of it. I would like to make a little bit more to make StreamYard more user-friendly, though. I don't know. Anyway, because there again, I don't have any sponsors. All this is me. I paid for this, the camera, okay, I didn't pay for the laptop, but still. I know everybody works hard for the money. I got Tyler said, give me stickers. I want to change the logo, man. Kind of keep the same guitar neck and guitar pick, but have it. Y'all know the shape of the Route 66 sign, how it's kind of got that shield look? I think that with the guitar neck and guitar pick with Forever Road on top would be fantastic. But I haven't figured out how to pull that off yet. But yeah, even my logo, man, I went online and paid for that myself. So yeah. So talk about Father's Day. Well, hang on. We'll get into some music history first. I know I'm kind of all over the place. It has been a rough couple of weeks, y'all. And I'm very glad that y'all are still here hanging out there with me. Let's see. Ralph Stanley, American bluegrass artist who was known for his distinctive singing and banjo playing, died at the age of 89. With his brother Carter, he helped popularize the bluegrass genre. Stanley won new fans when his work featured in Coen Brothers' film "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" Have y'all seen that? "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" That'd be a cool movie to review. Try to figure out how to pull some sound clips from that. You stole from my kid. In 2010, Gregory Lenore Allman, at the age of 62, underwent a successful liver transplant operation at the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, Florida. He had begun a series of treatments for Hep C, but chronic damage of his liver led doctors to recommend a transplant. In a statement to the press, he said, "I changed my ways years ago, but we can't turn back time. Every day is a gift." He passed away in 2017. Let's see. Just covering our music stuff that we cover here. And maybe one or two as a joke. Buddy Holly, 1990. Buddy Holly's Gibson acoustic guitar sold. Matter of fact, we're going to talk about Buddy Holly briefly here in a little while. Buddy Holly's acoustic guitar sold for $237,419 at Sotheby's auction. The guitar was in a tooled leather case made by Holly himself. I wonder if that's why Waylon did his. a minute. Hmm. Let's go over birthdays. I'm looking. I don't see nothing that matters to me anyway. There's a few pop stars. Maybe it's just me. I'm stubborn. I'm trying not to be narrow-minded, but pop music just doesn't. It sounds so pre-programmed. And I mean, they're on stage, they're doing their thing, and I'm not. But at the same time, there was a song, and I won't name any names. I mean, I don't care. I was in the gas station this morning, and I ain't had any coffee yet or anything like that, but they were playing some. It was by Adele. And the one song, I said, good Lord, man. How did this girl become famous? She sounds like she's a hound dog. Sorry. 1951, Larry Cunningham, American singer, best known as member of the R&B soul group The Floaters. He was born today, 1951, who scored the 1977 U.S. number 2 hit with Float On. The song was adapted in the early 90s to advertise Cadbury cream eggs. Cunningham died of a heart attack on January 10th, 2019, age of 67. I don't know if I ever covered the Grateful Dead. It's not really my. I mean, yeah, believe me, they were free spirited folks. But let's see. There we are. Here we go again. Nikki Sullivan, guitar singer and one of the 3 original members of Buddy Holly's backing band group, the Crickets. He co-wrote a number of his hit songs and sang backup vocals on 27 of the 32 songs Buddy recorded over his brief career. Sullivan died suddenly of a heart attack April 6, 2004 at his home in Independence, Missouri at the age of 66. So today, Nikki Sullivan was born in 1937. On this day, 1929, June Carter. Everybody knows Miss Carter, or June Carter Cash. American singer, songwriter, actress June Carter Cash, wife of the Man in Black Johnny Cash, had hits with Johnny Cash, Ring of Fire, Jackson, and If I Were a Carpenter. She won 5 Grammy Awards and was inducted to the Christian Music Hall of Fame in 2009. She died May 15th, 2003 at age 73. That's it for that part of today in music. I don't see anything. I don't see anything really as far as this day in 2004, Marty Stewart was arrested for following an auto accident in Nashville. The singer was arrested after allegedly hitting 2 cars on a street in front of a McDonald's restaurant. Come on, man, what are you doing? Anybody y'all know who Marty Stewart was or is? Checked off of that by accident. 2009, one of my favorite country music duo, Montgomery Gentry, were inducted to the almost said Hall of Fame, to the Grand Ole Opry. They released 6 studio albums, with each which produced more than 20 chart singles on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart. Say that 3 times fast. Gentry died in a helicopter crash, Eddie Gentry, in Medford, New Jersey, September 8, 2017, where the duo was scheduled to perform that evening. Despite Gentry's death, Montgomery continues to tour under the Montgomery Gentry name and has pursued a solo career. He actually got the blessings from Eddie's wife to continue on. They were really close. It wasn't like you hear on some bands, well, they're buddies, and then one of them dies, and then that's it. But or something happens to the band, and then that's it. He got blessings from Eddie's widow to carry on. I That's about all I got as far as today in music. I hope y'all enjoyed that. I hope it wasn't too long for you. My favorite Bad Company song is Bad Company. One of my favorite cover songs, Bad Company by Five Finger Death Punch. Yeah, I like a little bit of death. Is that death metal? I don't know. Took me a while to kind of get on that, but it's just different. I like Five Finger Death Punch. Let's see. Are we on the road? On the way home. Thank you. I know you're still listening out there, Tyler. Thank you. So, fathers. Believe it or not, the man that raised me, he had a big impact on me. I don't know if I talked about this last year, and I'll probably end up talking about it next year. But I'm very grateful for the man that I ended up calling. I knew him as Ricky early on because he was, stepdad. It took me a little bit, and I started calling him Daddy because I didn't know my real father at the time. And he had a big influence on me as far as like how to hunt, how to fish, how to take care of things, do things even though you're exhausted, you're tired, you still got to take care of your family. I watched him. We didn't talk a whole lot, and he wasn't the kind of man that would sit you down and, come here, son, let me talk about the birds and the bees, and, that's your thing, and don't play with it, and all that other mess. He just, just being around him. And the biggest impact on me was just that he was real quiet, laid back. He loved this man loves being outdoors. Matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, I had to go out there to Monroe County to help around the farm, ride around on side by side, spraying the fence line. But just even being out there, just riding along with him, talking smack, talking trash, whatever, it's just, we got closer as I got older. And I think we got really close around, when was it? Probably about 2007, 2008. If I had to pull a time period, but we got closer around that time period. And it was more like he was still raising me. It was kind of funny. Like he was still showing me tricks and tips and stuff like that. And I just kind of picked up the ball and ran with it. And he had a big influence on even my boys, Jay and Connor. And that country, not simple, a simple life. Because he would come home and then he'd come home, change, whatever, and go out, hunt, go out there, tend to the garden, go out there and, whatever his plans were. He always had this kind of, whether he realized it or not, or he always had this kind of free spirit mentality that I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And I don't need anybody telling me what to do. So that had a bigger influence on me, even though it ended up causing my folks, both of them, mom and daddy, a lot of heartache, you know. But like even after I met my real father in 2002, I was still kind of like, man, what do? You know, you got your daddy that you've known basically all your life, and here comes this, you know, you finally meet your biological. So I was worried about how daddy felt about it, you know, because I wasn't going to turn my back on him regardless. Well, they say family ain't always blood, you know, and sometimes blood don't mean your family. You know, and in the same, you know, in the same token, this, you know, and I have a lot of brothers the same way. You know, all real brothers, yes, we're real brothers. I mean, biologically, blood, no, but does that matter? But not only him, but I think that's why I got interested into Dodgers. Maybe that was Papa Harrington. That's probably him. But country music and hunting and fishing and living a simpler life way out in the middle of nowhere. You know, I think after I sell this place, I think that's where I'm going to head to. And I'm very, very, very grateful. That's why I wanted to spend a few minutes here. Very grateful for the lessons that I learned watching him and his influence on me. You know, that's how I discovered country music. My mama wasn't listening to country music before she met him. And I remember hours riding around listening to Jones. Yeah, it's going to show my age. Listening to George Jones cassette, Kentucky Headhunters, Travis Tritt, Hank Jr., you know, all this country, these country artists that were out in the late 80s and early 90s. They were, you know, still, I mean, it was still good back then. So the biggest influence on me was that Ricky Harrington. And I will always, you know, I think I give him props on this episode here. I give him, you know, because being a mechanic, that was heavily influenced by him. I don't know what got me into law enforcement, but being protective, I guess. But being a Dodge guy, you know, that was all through him too. Him and Papa, his daddy. And I know I say daddy. Some folks say dad. I think BC, he was on here one time early on in our first season. And how do you say it? Diddy? Something like that. I don't know. They have a different dialect in North Carolina. Turtle is getting better. In fact, I'll text him. Hang on one second. He's getting better. We've been playing video games almost every night. I haven't the last couple of nights because I've just been wiped. He's recovering. He's still got a little bit to go, man. But he's very he told me the other day. I said, well, I'm gonna record. I was gonna try to record last night. I know, but I said, well, when I record, what do you want me to say? What do you need me to, you know? He's very, very grateful for all the prayers and the concerns and the comments and everything. He's very, very grateful for the support and the love y'all have shown him. And I'm the same way. Let's see what he said. Oh, nothing else. Nothing yet. Oh, somebody else texted me. So let's get into it. Because I know that I'm not going to cut this very short, but I'm getting hungry. It ain't going to be a short episode. I got to look up something real quick. So I spent a lot of time watching a lot of documentaries on this man. And by far, one of the biggest influences, biggest influences in music history, Waylon Jennings. And I know I did a short video the other day. Waylon Arnold Jennings was born June 15, 1937, also known as Hoss, Chief, Watasha, Waymore. Waylon would pass away February 13th, 2002 at the age of 64. Now I'm going to give you all some homework. And at the same time, what's your favorite Waylon Jennings song? There's a song that Hank Jr. did a long time ago. And then at the memorial, Hank Jr., Travis Tritt, and Marty Stewart all did right after Waylon's passing. They did it live. I don't remember what show that was, but anyway, some award show. But they did a memorial for Waylon. That was Hank Jr.'s best friend. He was probably one of his biggest influences, and why we saw the turn of Hank Jr. In his daddy's shadow to the Bo Cephas rock and roller rock and Randall Hank was Waylon. The first triple platinum album in Nashville was hanging on Waylon's wall. Also, he was a balladeer. Everybody remembers the show Dukes of Hazzard. He was a balladeer of that show. The movie Moonrunners. And no text yet. I wonder if Turtle will get in the chat. If you ever watch the old TV shows, fantastic voice. Started playing guitar at the age of 8, and that led him to a talent contest, and ended up him having his own radio show, his own 15-minute radio show in his hometown of him playing guitar and singing. He was born in Littlefield, Texas, and there wasn't nothing there. To hear him tell it, it was either pick cotton or play music. And in his words, after a couple hours of picking cotton, you figure out how to play music. So he always knew he wanted to play music. I'm just going through some highlights here because it'll remind me of what I saw in the documentary of the last couple of days. Yeah, that's a great song. So he left high school at the age of 16, determined to become a musician. Worked as a performer and DJ, and several. Let's see, about 4 radio stations. In 1958, him and Buddy Holly got to work together at one of the radio stations. They created the first radio jingle. You know how back in the day, I don't know about now, back in the day they had the little jingles on radio stations between songs or between commercial breaks. They had the radio call sign. Buddy Holly and Waylon would sing it. They would create the little jingle so that was them. They did the first radio jingles like that. God Almighty, I couldn't imagine meeting Buddy Holly. And according to Waylon, Buddy Holly was like always. He said he was one of the. He was always up. He was always happy, upbeat and happy, and he would make anybody feel better. Like he. And the cool thing is, and this, I'm keep my opinions to myself in some cases, but the cool thing is Buddy Holly wanted to. He saw something in Waylon, right? If y'all know who Buddy Holly was, Peggy Sue. Anyway, so that's why his songs are always happy and kind of upbeat. Buddy wanted to keep pursuing music, but he didn't want to do it by himself. He wanted to bring his buddies up with him. He wanted to see his friends make it along with him. He was real supportive and real, now he was a demanding figure in that he wanted you to do your best. And I've had that. I've actually been blessed a few times with having that same influence around me, even with turning wrenches on trucks. When I first started out, I didn't know anything, not as far as big tractor trailers go. I've always, even when I was in law enforcement, growing up, when I was working at Kroger, I was still working on cars and trucks, but I had a little bit of doubt in myself. And for Waylon, Buddy was that, hey, you've got some talent here. So, get out of your own head and you'll make it. And in my case, I've had that same, man, I'm not sure if I could really cut this. And I've had, I still text him every day, somebody to reach in and just reach in and go flip that switch. There's certain people that knew they could get under your skin in a positive way, and that was Buddy Holly for Waylon. Let's see. Trying to pop this because I didn't write anything down, dude. The way I was greasy and stuff like that over watching these documentaries or listening to them, rather, I couldn't write anything down. I wouldn't be able to read it. So in 1958, Buddy Holly arranged for his first recording session, and Buddy paid for it. Now that's and hired him to play bass. Buddy Holly showed up with a bass guitar, gave it to Waylon and said, "Here, learn how to play this. You have 2 weeks." And Waylon said, "I didn't learn how to play bass. I just learned how to memorize where I was supposed to be." There's a song that he covered. It was called Jolie Blonde. It was a French song, and Buddy Holly thought it was a pretty good idea to cover it in English. After the plane crash of Buddy Holly in 58. All right, so let's back up. He was born June 15, 1937 on J.W. Bittner Farm near Littlefield, Texas. His mama's name was Lorraine Beatrice Shipley, and his daddy's name was William Albert Jennings. The Jennings family line descended from Irish and Black Dutch. He was the oldest of 4 kids, followed by Tommy. His brother Tommy was born in 41. He passed away in 2019. I've seen a couple of interviews with Tommy and Bo. James and Bo Jennings, 1950 to 2018. Let's see. Where was it? I saw it earlier. His mama taught him how to play guitar with a tune called 30 Pieces of Silver. He used to practice with his relatives' instruments until his mother bought him a used Stella guitar. Later ordered a Harmony Patrician. Okay, I'll make sure I read that right. Early influences of Waylon's was Bob Wills, and he's got a song called "I Don't Care Who's in." Bob Wills is still the king. I had to sing the line. Floyd Tillman, Ernest Tubb, Hank Williams, Carl Smith, Dean Martin, and Elvis Presley were all Waylon's early influences. So we had some good influences when he was breaking out, trying to make a name for himself in music. You know how you go through the whole. So as he continues on in life, he's trying to figure out his foothold in music, playing Lions Club and JC Club. He won a talent show at Channel 13 in Lubbock, singing "Hey Joe." He later made a frequent performance at the Palace Theater in Littlefield during the local talent night. Age 14, auditioned for a spot at KVOW in Littlefield. Owner J.B. McShann, along with Emil Macha, recorded Jennings' performance. He said he liked his style and hired him for weekly 30-minute. I heard it was 15 minutes. 30-minute programs. Following his performance on the show, he formed his own band. He asked Macha to play bass for him and gathered other friends and acquaintances to form the Texas Longhorns. This style of band and mixture of country and western bluegrass music was often not well received. Now, back in the day, people were really purists. We're talking about country has to say country and it has to sound like it's country. I kind of get that a little bit today with today's pop country music. Anybody in the chats or anybody, if you're a fan of modern country, as they call it. So I guess in one way, everything kind of goes through a cycle, you know. You got your country, and then it starts breeding into outlaw country as time goes on, and then whatever that mess was in the 80s. There was little hints of outlaw country here and there in the 80s with a group that came out in the 70s called Alabama, just to name one, you know. All right. Upon leaving school, he worked for his father in the family store and took temporary jobs. He felt the music would turn into his career. The next year, along with the Texas Longhorns, he recorded a demo version of the songs "Stranger in My Home" and "There'll Be a New Day." At a radio show in Lubbock. Meanwhile, he drove a truck for Thomas Lumber Company. Started working at DJ in 1956, moved to Lubbock. That's when he ran into Buddy Holly. They would cover a lot of songs filled with 2 hours of country classics, 2 of current country, and 2 of mixed recordings. The latter included rock and roll stars such as Chuck Berry and Little Richard. The owner reprimanded Jennings for his selection, and after playing 2 Little Richard records in a row, he was fired. He would go on to say, I'm trying to find where he met. I want to be right as far as this goes because I have a lot of respect for this. I know that he would later go on and say he didn't care what color of skin anybody is. If they played good music, he didn't care. During his time at KVOW, he was visited by DJ Sky Corbin of Levelland, yeah. He was impressed with his voice and decided to visit Jennings at a station after hearing him sing a jingle to the tune of Hank Snow's I'm Moving On. So what they would do was take a popular music song and make it their own, but they would do a little radio jingle. I heard it. Oh gosh, what was it? Buddy Holly singing K. I think the radio station was KLLL. So you would hear a little sound clip, but it would be of one of Buddy Holly's songs, like the rhythm. Yeah. So Jennings produced commercials and created jingles with the rest of the DJs. Through that, his popularity increased. He made public appearances. One of his events included live performances. During one of the performances, Buddy Holly's father, L.O., where did I miss it? I guess it was, okay. L.O. Holly approached them with the son's latest record and asked them to play at the station. Holly mentioned his son's intention to start producing artists himself. Corbin recommended Jennings. After returning from a tour, from his tour in England, Buddy Holly visited, KLLL. Holly took Jennings as his first artist. He outfitted him with new clothes and worked with him to improve his image. He arranged a session for Jennings at Norman Petty's recording studios in Clovis, New Mexico. On September 10th, Jennings recorded the songs Jolie Blonde, song I mentioned earlier, and When Sin Stops, Love Begins. Oh, yeah. With Holly and Tommy also on guitars and saxophone. Oh, and saxophonist, get this. Buddy Holly discovered this man. And we'll cover him later on down the road. But King Curtis, phenomenal blues, jazz saxophonist King Curtis. Holly then hired Jennings to play bass for him during his Winter Dance Party tour. This is where things get murky. We're going to cover this on a true crime-ish episode. Before the tour, Holly vacationed with his wife in Lubbock and visited Jennings during let's see. So fast forward a little bit to before the performance and at the Surf Ballroom in Clear Lake, Iowa. Holly chartered a 4-seat Beechcraft Bonanza airplane from Dwyer Flying Service in Mason City, Iowa, for himself, Jennings, and Tommy also, to avoid a long bus trip to the next venue in Moorhead, Minnesota. Following the Clear Lake show, which ended around midnight, Alsop lost a coin toss and gave up his seat on the plane to Richie Valens. If y'all ever seen the movie The Buddy Holly Story or La Bamba, both of those movies cover that. While Jennings voluntarily gave the seat to J.P. Richardson, also known as the Big Bopper, who was suffering from the flu. He complained about how cold and uncomfortable the tour bus would be. I think the bus was very small compared to nowadays. When Holly learned his bandmates had given up their seats on the plane, he'd chosen to take the bus rather than fly. A friendly banter between Jennings and Holly would come back to haunt Jennings for most of his life, or for decades. Sorry. Well, Holly jokingly told Jennings, "Well, I hope your old bus freezes up." And Jennings said, "Well, I hope your old plane crashes." Under 90 minutes later, shortly after 1 a.m., February 3rd, 1959, Holly's charter plane crashed into the cornfield outside of Mesa City, instantly killing all on board. The day the music died. Um, hang on, it'll come to me in a minute. Don McLean, he talks about that. Let's see. But let's skip all this. So I'm gonna tell you like this. When I was early on, what were we talking about? What's past? Working on vehicles. I finished replacing my radiator Saturday. It blew up due to a mixed coolant. Oh. I mean, no. So early on discovering Waylon Jennings, I think I discovered for me, to me, Waylon Jennings encompasses, I don't know how I say it. What's the word I'm looking for? He was like the ultimate free spirit outlaw. There's a song after all this, and he's had a few sons, a few kids, by the way. He's been married a few times, lived his whole life being out, influenced, like I said, Hank Jr. He comes along. Let me see. When did they drop the? I mean, there's so much in his life that he covered. There was, so he goes back home after the plane crash, and in the early '60s, I'm trying to figure out where that song was that changed everything. So he goes back to Arizona and Texas. So he's kind of going back and forth after that. This is where everything starts changing for him, and you could tell early on that like the whole outlaw, he's been under record producers. He's been under this traveling, doing somebody else's thing, and at one point he was roommates with Johnny Cash. That's when he starts, somewhere in the 60s, he starts discovering his own sound. Goes through one marriage, goes through another, and sometime in, I say around 72, one of the greatest songs that, like, to me was one of his best was a song called Lonesome, Ornery, and Mean. I can't play any music on here anymore because I think we got in trouble the last time we tried that. So he's really frustrated in life. He comes down sick with hepatitis C, and he's almost given up, right? He's done been through all this stuff, done lost Buddy, his best friend. He went through one marriage. He's on his second one or third one, I think. How many times was he married? Yeah, mid-60s. Yeah, it was. Anyway, and he's sitting there sick, and he's just about to give it up. And in '66, he releases his debut RCA Victor album, Folk Country. FOLK, folk, okay? Followed by Leaving Town and Nashville Rebel. You could see the change around like I said, the mid to late 60s. He's starting to change. The album's third single was a cover of Gordon Lightfoot. That's What You Get for Loving Me. Peaked at number 9. It's first top 10 single. Nashville Rebel was the soundtrack to an independent film, so he did try being an actor. The single Green River charted on Billboard Country Charts at number 11. 67, he released just one of my favorite songs as well, Just to Satisfy You. The song was a pretty good example of his influential work with Buddy Holly in rockabilly music. And Buddy Holly did, I guess, single-handedly create rockabilly music. Everybody thought Elvis was the hottest thing, man. Buddy Holly was where it's at. Well, back then, it was where it was at. Oh, that's good. Where was I? His single enjoyed successes. The Choking Kind peaked at number 8 on the Billboard charts in 67. The Only Daddy That'll Walk the Line hit number 2 in 68. 69, he collaborated with the Kimberleys on a single, MacArthur Park. He earned a Grammy Award for Best Country Performance by a duo or group. His single, Brown Eyed Handsome Man, reached number 3 on the hot charts by the end of the year. During this time, there we go, he rented an apartment with Johnny Cash. Jennings and Cash were both managed by Lucky Moeller's booking company. Where was it at? While playing 300 Days on the Road, Jennings' debt increased, along with a lot of his consumption of amphetamines. And he believed himself to be trapped in the circuit. 72, he released a song, Ladies Love Outlaws. The single that headlined the album became a hit for him and was his first approach to outlaw country, like I said, 72. See, I thought it was the documentary I saw was the Lonesome Henri Amin was his 72 single. The Ladies Love Outlaws is a pretty good song too. Outlaw Country. So after the release of Ladies Love Outlaws, his recording contract was nearing an end. So this is the time, yeah. So sick and frustrated in the Nashville music industry, he was considering retirement. Albright visited him, Tommy Albright, visiting him, convinced him to continue. Waylon would go on to say that he's frustrated, he's tired, he's getting ready to quit. And Albright was like, yeah, but there's another way. And he said, well, what do you mean? Well, rock and roll. Meanwhile, he hired, Albright suggested Neil Reshen for a new manager, and he requested $25,000 from cash advance from RCA to cover his living expenses during his recovery. The same day he met Reshen, RCA sent Jerry Bradley to offer Waylon Jennings $5,000 as a bonus for signing a new 5% royalty deal with RCA. The same terms he had accepted in 1965. After reviewing the offer with Reshen, he rejected it and hired Reshen instead. Reshen, this is what kind of gives him the outlaw reputation. This is where everything starts kicking off big time. Reshen started to negotiate Jennings' recording contract and met him, and at a meeting in Nashville, Jennings introduced Reshen to Willie Nelson. By the end of the meeting, Reshen had become Nelson's manager as well. He's looking for his buddies, right? He's looking out for his homies. He began to attract rock and roll fans. As a matter of fact, so in 73, I don't know where Nelson. Oh, yeah. In 73, they find success with Atlantic Records, now based out of Austin, Texas. So he goes back to Texas. And this is another thing that Waylon brought up in his interview. He said, if you're in the music business and you're trying to find your way, don't go to Nashville. Don't go to New York. Don't go to LA. Let Nashville, New York, and LA come to you. Make them come to you. That's exactly what he did. He got fed up with the Nashville sound. He got fed up with the Nashville scene. Them trying to tell him what to do, put him in a box, clean him up, make him shave, brush his teeth, put it on deodorant, whatever. But, dude, you stink. Go wash it. Anyway, but they was making him, they was trying to put him in a box that he didn't want to be in. He wanted to play his music. And with Reshin, he got that freedom. Reshin said, I don't care. Make some music. Let's do this thing. Let's kick this thing off. So Atlantic Records made a bid to sign Jennings, but Nelson's rise of popularity persuaded RCA to renegotiate with him before losing another potential star. 73 released Lonesome, Ornery, and Mean. See, I was told it was 72. And Honky Tonk Heroes. Let me tell you a story about this. There's a man by the name of Billy Joe Shaver who wrote the song Honky Tonk Heroes. At the time, Billy Joe Shaver was trying to get into the music business himself. Billy Joe goes to one of the shows. He goes in the back. He finds Waylon. He says, look, I want you to, or maybe he just went to the studio. I think he went to a studio. He says, look, Waylon, I want you to listen to my songs and, I need some help. And Waylon's like, he kind of gets it all the time. Waylon said, all right, well, I want you to play me one song, and if I don't like it, you'll be leaving. Billy Joe picks up his guitar, starts playing music. And this is after Waylon had ran Billy Joe Shaver off once or twice before. This time, Billy Joe, and it just came to him, Billy Joe shows up with a pistol and puts it in his face. He's like, you're going to listen to what I got, or listen to my music, whether you like it or not. I mean, Waylon wasn't no small dude, and he did have the reputation of being mean. So somewhere down the line, so anyway, that's where, sorry, I skipped ahead in my brain. That's where Honky Tonk Heroes came from. That was Billy Joe Shaver's song. Waylon's version of the song and Billy Joe's version, it's kind of close. There's some similarities, but I hate to say it, but I think Waylon, maybe it's just biased opinion. I like Billy Joe Shaver. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to take away from him at all, but I like Waylon's version better. So the first albums, these two albums are the first albums recorded and released under his creative control. That's what he wanted. Suddenly he's becoming out. He's he can't be doing this type of music. The title tracks of both albums topped the country singles charts. Self-penned this time, becoming Waylon Jennings' first number one single. Dream My Dreams, released in 79, included the number one single, Are You Sure Hank Done It This Way? Talking about, are you sure Hank Williams Sr. done things this way? Well, when he came to Nashville, you sure Hank done it this way? Yeah. And become his first album to become certified gold by RIAA, which is, I think it's the Recording Industry Association of America. So it was also the first of 6 consecutive solo albums to be certified gold or higher. In 1976, he released Are You Ready for the Country? Jennings wanted LA producer Ken Mansfield to produce the record, but RCA balked. Jennings and the Wailers traveled to Los Angeles and recorded with Mansfield and at his own expense. A month later, he returned to Nashville and presented the master tape to Chet Atkins, who, after listening to it, decided to release it. But Chet Atkins wasn't no slouch either. He wasn't a pushover. He was the leader. He was the one that ran RCA in Nashville. The album reached the number 1 Billboard chart, country charts 3 times in the same year, topping charts for 10 weeks. It was named Country Album of the Year in 76. The record by Record World magazine. It was certified gold by RIAA. 76 also released the compilation album Wanted, The Outlaws. I actually have that. It's in storage. Wanted, The Outlaws. The Jennings, Willie Nelson, Tom Paul Glasser, and Jennings' wife, Jessie Coulter. Shooter's mama. The album was the first country music album certified platinum. The following year, RCA issued Old Waylon, an album that produced a hit duet with Willie Nelson, Lukenbach, Texas, and the album Waylon and Willie followed in 78, produced the hit singles Mama Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys. Jennings released I've Always Been Crazy in 78, the same year at the peak of his success. I'm trying to get to... Here we are. At the peak of his success, Jennings began to feel limited by the outlaw movement. It's kind of odd. He referred to the over-exploitation of the image in the song, Don't You Think This Outlaw Bit's Done Got Out of Hand, claiming that the movement had become a self-fulfilling prophecy. In 79, RCA released Jennings' first greatest hits compilation, which was certified gold the same year. So, man, we're talking about year after year after year, doing his own music, creative freedom, creative control, all that year. Boom, boom, boom. Albums, compilation albums, albums with your buddy Willie. That sounded wrong. Anyway, so, I mean, just these songs that the sound that nobody else was doing. They had the balls. He had the balls and that much to bring, and he wanted to do this sound, and he wanted to do his own thing. I think largely for me, that has a lot to do with why I do this show the way I do it. That free spirit, outlaw. I'm going to do my show. I'm going to do my podcast. We're going to talk about Waylon Jennings and Hank Sr. and all these so-called bad boys of country music, rock, southern rock, gospel. I said this the other day. I was talking to my buddy Jonathan, and I was talking to, y'all may know him, James Stewart, from the other podcast. But I was talking to them. I said, man, this is a crazy concept. I wonder why I've always felt a kindred spirit to these guys, The song, Don't You Think This Outlaw Bit's Done Got Out of Hand, is, to me, at the same time, it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. But the funny part about that song is there's a line in the song, we wrapped up in the music, cars pulled up, the boys get out in the room, fills up with law. They were trying to intercept a package of dope, and Waylon didn't make no bones about it. He was like, I had a $1,500 drug habit, $1,500 a day. Him and Johnny Cash. when he finally said this stuff, and ultimately he cleaned himself up. But there's a story that they came into the studio to intercept the drug packs. DEA and FBI and all these other guys come busting through their studio. And right when they were in the middle of recording, the producer leans back like this, and hits the talk back button. So the guys in the studio can hear him talking inside the, where you, and he hears what's going on. And but when they all see the doors open and all that, they hid the drugs, and then when the producer walks in there, grabs a bag of drugs, stuffs it down the front of his pants, and then initially he told the law, I got to go in there and check this microphone. You can check, but we're still in the middle of recording. You ain't got a warrant. You ain't getting in here. We're in the middle of recording. It's going to be about another 30 minutes. So they go in. He goes in there, and I need to come look at that microphone. And he walks in there, grabs the dope, stuffs it down the front of his pants, and walks out. And about that time, they said something about going to the bathroom. He goes to the bathroom, flushes all of it, and gets rid of it. So they brought him up on charges of something that was gone. Hilarious. Sounds like something I would do. Oh, man, I don't know what you're talking about. I ain't got nothing in here. What do y'all think any dope? Dope. What you talking about? I ain't seen nothing. No, seriously though. Y'all know I'm very, very adamant against any drugs or self-harm. And I'm just gonna say this. I've said it before. I'll say it again. If you have any problems with drugs, alcohol, if you got any problems, we're still in the month of June, y'all. We're 23 days into this? 23 days of the men's mental health month. So if y'all have any problems, if you're struggling in any kind of way, whether it's anxiety, depression, PTSD, something's weighing heavy on your heart, call me. Maybe you're not the praying kind. I'm the praying kind. Bring it to me. We'll pray about it. We'll talk about it. We'll see what Scripture says about it. Speaking of that, and before I'm going to wrap it up here soon, speaking of that, I'm going to start another podcast with my buddy Jonathan. We're working on the details. I have, in the last couple months, I have been working very diligently. I've been diving more into Scripture, more into prayer, and really trying to get back into God's will. So we're going to start another podcast. We're still going to do this because I enjoy doing the music, history, and facts and stuff like that. But it's going to be, we hadn't settled on a name yet. I got a couple names kicking around out there, but it's going to be largely men's ministry and women's ministry. We're not going to, like I got a huge female following as it is, but, and really to bring out, for me, it's more like, yeah, I've got a history. I've got a past. But the past is the past. But the past can only be the past if you submit your life over to Christ. Then the past is the past. Your past is forgiven. Now, man will hold things against you, but he won't. He loves you that much. And we're going to get into some uncomfortable topics and some uncomfortable scripture. Things like it's going to be transparent. It's going to be clear as a bell. It's going to be, if I quote the scripture, it's going to be scripture. It's not going to be my interpretation of scripture. I don't dare do that. That ain't my job. My job ain't to save souls. It's if I can bring people to Christ and let you make your decision from there, and you accept him, rock and roll. But I hope y'all bear with me. A lot of things are changing. A lot of things are changing for the better. And I really hope y'all stick with me as well. I'm still going to do the history, the music, and the stuff on Forever Road. I'm not giving up on this because this is there again. This is all a hobby anyway. But if I could reach out and help, people that are struggling. Maybe you're struggling, in whatever area of life. I've done in my past, and we'll get into it on that podcast. It's going to be personal. It's going to be open and transparent. I ain't gonna hide anything if it comes up. I got nothing to hide. I've done a lot of dumb stuff, and I've done a lot of things I ain't proud of. But I'm grateful for my life, and I'm grateful for my God, and I'm grateful for my Lord and Savior. So, but I'm gonna leave it right there. Waylon Jennings will go on. In '79, he joined the cast of the CBS series The Dukes of Hazzard as a balladeer, the narrator. The only episode to feature him as an actor was Welcome, Waylon Jennings. See, he knew that it was weird, like this whole multiverse thing. There was a multiverse before it became multiverse, right? He wrote the theme song to the show Dukes of Hazzard before the show became. In that show, Welcome Waylon Jennings, during the 7th season, the final season, Jennings played himself, presented as an old friend of the Duke family. For the show, he also wrote the song. That song became the biggest hit of his career. Released as a single in promotion with the show, it became Jennings' 12th single to reach #1 on the Billboard country charts. As also as a crossover hit, peaking at 21 on the Billboard Hot 100. Mid-'80s, he would join up with Johnny Cash, Chris Christopherson, and Willie Nelson. They formed a successful group called the Highwaymen, which is a great song. Jennings released a gold album in World War II in 1982 with Willie Nelson. Here's a funny little story. In '85, he joined the U.S. for Africa to record "We Are the World." He left the studio because a dispute over the song's lyrics that were to be sung in Swahili. By this time, the sales had decreased after the release of "Sweet Mother, Texas." Waylon. So, in the middle, and there's a video on YouTube about it. I've done a lot of dumb too. Yes, thank you, Tyler. My man. So I'm still going back to what I said earlier, I'm still gonna bring you all the stuff, all the fun here. I'm still gonna be me. So Waylon, he was a Christian. The funny part is he walked out of the "We Are the World" record recording, and he probably saved it. Because in his words, "Don't no good old boy sing in Swahili." In 1990, he signed with Epic Records. His first release, "The Eagle," became his final top 10 album. Jennings' music is characterized by his powerful, rough-edged singing voice, phrasing, and texture. He was also recognized for his spanky twang guitar style. To create a sound, he used yeah, we ain't gonna get on. He was married 4 times, had 6 children, married Maxine Carol Lawrence in 56 at the age of 18. He had 4 children with her. Jennings married Lynn Jones December 10th, 1962. They adopted a daughter, but divorced in 1967. He married Barbara Elizabeth Rood, R-O-O-D. That same year, he composed a song, "This Time," about the trials and tribulations of his marriage. his marriages and divorce. It went on to become his first number one chart-topping song in 1974. Jennings married country singer Jesse Coulter in Phoenix, Arizona, October 26, 1969. Coulter had a daughter, Jennifer, from her previous marriage to Dwayne Eddy. Now, I heard that yesterday, and I was like, Dwayne Eddy, why do I know that? Oh, he just passed away. That's right. Okay. All right. I remember now. Dwayne Eddy. There's more. Anyway. She was married to Dwayne Eddy. And when Waylon was, at some point, when Waylon was still suffering with the effects from hepatitis C, that's what, no, they were at a get together and he had eyes for Jesse then. But she came after him. She came to him and said, "You need me in your life. You need me to take care of you." You know, apparently he couldn't take care of himself. Some outlaw men are kind of like that, you know. That's funny. She was demanding and she just put her foot down. So I ain't going nowhere. They had a son. Him and Jesse had a son, Waylon Albright, known as Shooter, in 1979. In the 1980s, Coulter and Jennings nearly divorced due to his abuse of drugs and alcohol. And in 1990, after he stopped touring, he finally earned his GED to set an example for a shooter about the importance of an education. That's crazy. He studied for his GED by watching tapes of GED on TV programs from the Kentucky Education Television Network on his tour bus. Addiction and recovery. He started consuming amphetamines while he lived with Johnny Cash in the mid-60s. Later stated pills were the artificial energy of which Nashville ran around the clock. In 1977, he was arrested by federal agents for conspiracy and possession of cocaine with intent to distribute. A private courier warned the DEA about the package sent to Jennings by a New York colleague that contained 27 grams of coke. The DEA and the police searched his recording studios and found no evidence. Remember what I said? While they were waiting for a search warrant. Jennings didn't design. This is wrong. It says he disposed of the drugs. It wasn't him that did it. Charges were later dropped and he was released. The episode was recounted in the song "Don't You Think This Outlaw Bitch Done Got Out of Hand." There are alternate versions of that. During the 1980s, his cocaine addiction intensified, claimed to have spent $1,500 a day, which 2024 will be $5,200 a day on his habit, draining his personal finances and leaving him bankrupt with debt of $2.5 million. Though he insisted on repaying the debt and did additional tours to do so, his work became less focused on and his tours deteriorated. He leased a home in the Phoenix area, spent a month detoxing himself, intending to start using cocaine in a more controlled fashion. Afterwards, in 1984, he quit cocaine, claiming that his son Shooter was the main inspiration to finally do so. Decades of smoking and drug use took a large toll on Jennings' health, in addition to obesity and a poor diet, which resulted in his developing type 2 diabetes. 1988, 4 years after quitting cocaine, and he ended his 6-pack a day smoking habit. 6-pack a day. Good God. Whew. I think there's 20 cigarettes in a pack. Am I right? 20 cigarettes in a pack. 20 times 6, that's 120. I know I have a GED. I'm just trying to do quick math. 120 cigarettes a day. 120 goes into 24 how many times? Good Lord. There you go. And there's Brother Turtle. Turtle is in the chat. Some of our outlaw men, that's right, need a woman to help us live. That's why I have my wife. Amen. And she's awesome too. And brother Tyler says the only reason why I'm still breathing is because of the woman that puts up with me. It takes a strong, it really does, man. Any way you cut it, it takes a strong, it really does. It takes a strong woman to put up with men who are free-spirited, hard-headed, stubborn, doing our own thing, want to figure things out on our own. That same year, he underwent heart bypass surgery in 1980. Let's see, 4 years ago, 1988. By 2000, his diabetes worsened and the pain reduced his mobility to the point where he was forced to end most touring. He went and had surgery on his left legs, blood circulation. Yep. February 13th, 2002, Jennings died in his sleep from complications of diabetes at his home in Chandler, Arizona, at the age of 64. He was buried in the City of Mesa Cemetery, nearby Mesa, Arizona. At his memorial service on February 15th, Chelsea Coulter sang the song that they did a duet together called Storms Never Last. Between 65 and 91, 96 Jennings singles appeared on the Billboard Hot Country Singles charts. 16 topped it. Between 66 and 95, 54 of his albums charted the Billboard Top Country Albums, with 11 reaching number 1. October 2001, he was inducted to the Country Music Hall of Fame, but he was unable to attend the ceremony due to pain caused by diabetes. July 6, 2006, Jennings was inducted to the Guitar Center's Rock Walk in Hollywood, California. Jesse attended the ceremony along with Chris Christopherson, who was inducted on the same day. On June 20th, 2007, he was posthumously awarded Cliffy Stone Pioneer Award by the Academy of Country Music. During the ceremony, Ray Scott sang Rainy Day Woman, and the award was accepted by Buddy Jennings. Littlefield, Texas renamed one of its major roads, 10th Street, to Waylon Jennings Boulevard. He was inducted to the Texas Country Music Hall of Fame in 1999. In 2008, posthumous Waylon Forever was released. It consists of songs recorded with his then 16-year-old son, Shooter. In 2012, the three-volume Waylon, The Music Inside, was released, featuring covers of Waylon songs by different artists. Also released that same year was Going Down Rockin', the last recordings, a set of 12 songs recorded by Jennings and bassist Robbie Turner. Before Jennings' death in 2002, the songs initially featured only Jennings' guitar and vocals, with Turner on bass. Further accompaniment was added later. Turner completed the recordings in 2012 with the help of former Wailers. The Jennings family approved the release. Shooter Jennings arranged deals for a clothing line, launched a renewed website, and started talks with different producers on a biographical film. George Jones' 1985 singles "Who's Gonna Fill Their Shoes" references Waylon Jennings with the line, "like the outlaw who walks through Jesse's dreams." In early 2024, his son Shooter, along with Jesse, announced another posthumous album. Posthumous. Anyway, album that will be released in 2025. This time with unearthed material from the 70s through the 80s that had yet to be released. That was what I was talking about, that short that I did the other day. Jennings' music has influence on numerous artists, including Hank Jr., the Marshall Tucker Band, Travis Tritt, Steve Earle, Eric Church, Cody Jinks, Jamie Johnson, John Anderson, and his son Shooter, Sturgill Simpson, and Hank III. And big time for me as well. Something about his music, man, that really kind of, I don't know. For me, it kind of goes along with the Allman Brothers in the same sense. Now, here's another Allman Brothers, and I'll do you one. I'll do a couple more before we head out of here because I did go a little long tonight. One. There's a song called "Good Hearted Woman." If you know the song, you know what I'm talking about. Good hearted woman in love with a good timing man. Waylon and Willie, they were all hanging out, and he went downstairs, and there he saw a headline on the newspaper. It was about Tina Turner and Ike Turner, and it says, "Good hearted woman." You know, they were fighting. Her and Ike were fighting, had arguments or whatever. But that line so he goes back upstairs and he says, "Man, I got this idea. It just came to me. Good-hearted woman." So he starts running down the good-hearted woman, loving a good timing man. So him and Willie Nelson right there in the hotel room started running down that song. But it was inspired from Tina Turner and Ike's issues, I guess. Issues. All right, if you've seen the Tina Turner story back in the 90s, that's a rough movie. They were very rough together. But there's something else I was going to bring up. Oh, Waylon Jennings, when he kicked the cocaine and drinking habits and all that stuff, I believe it was the Allman Brothers Band induction. This is another Allman Brothers connection. The Allman Brothers Band got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in '95. Waylon did a couple of their covers. He covered a couple of their songs as well. Midnight Rider, heard him cover Bob Seger's "Turn the Page." Did a pretty decent job at it. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty good. If Bubba was here, he would, because we talked about it on Father's Day. So if you watch the video of the Allman Brothers Band being inducted to the Hall of Fame, you know, Greg said he wanted to get up there and talk about his brother and Uncle Bill Graham and all this other stuff. But he gets up there and he says, "This is dedicated to my brother." And you could tell Greg's struggling. He's hammered. He's blitzed. And he turns around, and Willie Nelson actually inducted them into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He turns around, and Willie's standing right there. And Willie looks at Greg and says, "Are you all right, Gregory?" And he looks at Willie and says, "Willie, no, I'm not good at all." Somewhere along the lines in there, he runs into Waylon Jennings. Waylon says, "Hoss," because he talked about going to another AA meeting and all this. He said, alcoholics don't need AA. The only thing alcoholics need is, I can't remember exactly how he worded it. It was something to the effect of, and Greg actually talks about this in his book, My Cross to Bear. He says the only thing they need is two drunks and a coffee pot. Waylon's mindset, he's very strong-willed, as you can tell. You know, we just talked about his life. When a man wants to quit something, he'll quit. It's like me in this, might as well say, this poison right here. You know? smokeless tobacco. You know, whether it's cigarettes, whether it's alcohol, drugs. You know, man wants to quit something, he'll quit. But that was what Greg needed to get off alcohol. Now, Greg struggled with other things. We ain't gotta get into that, but y'all know how I always find a little link there, going back to the Allman Brothers band. Listen here, I know it's an hour and 40 minutes in. I'm glad y'all are here. Tyler, Brother Turtle showed up in the chat. Thank you. I love you, brother. I'll probably get on the game here in a minute because I'm for some DoorDash and food. Marine's Blood, thank you for being in the chat. So Uncle Jerry, I don't know what happened to you, but I saw you in here earlier. Everybody else, thank y'all for listening. We will get back on track this coming up weekend, put my house on the market. I'm still going to live here, and folks just kind of deal with that. But I've been cleaning up. I sprayed for bugs when I got home, just to be sure. You know what I mean? I didn't want any surprises. When we got some good stuff just to make sure, because I saw some and I was like, freaked out. But y'all, thank y'all for bearing with me. Thank y'all for being here. Seriously, it's been great. 10 more hours so I can listen all shit. I don't have that much. I mean, I can get in some topics, but 10 hours? Yeah. If I didn't have to work tomorrow, man, I want to do that. Do a 24-hour podcast just one time. I don't think it can be done. Has anybody done that yet? A 24-hour podcast just once? Boom. Start at 7 a.m., get done at 7 a.m. People sitting here asleep like this. What? Oh man. But I'm going to get off here and go play some video games. At least for a little bit. Yeah, for a little bit. Anyway, I hope y'all have a great week. I'm glad y'all are with me. I'm going to kick some more episodes over to Spotify probably tomorrow when I get home. Y'all have a great week. I'll find, let's see. I don't know what next week's topic's going to be, but I'll figure it out. I got some notes written down. I know I did. I want to do Waylon. I don't have a whole lot of automotive stuff yet. I'll take that back. Turtle sent me something the other day. But anyway, actually it's the end of the month. We'll do a movie review. So y'all have a great night. Have a great week. For those of you, Tyler and Marine's Blood, I'll probably see y'all in the chats on the other shows. Before we go, I ain't got to pull it up here, but don't forget Operation Tackle Box. I actually found my Operation Tackle Box hat. I got to put it in the washing machine. It was kind of funky. Operation Tackle Box, 501c3 nonprofit organization that helps our veterans, military veterans, whether they're suffering PTSD. It really helps them a lot. Help them whatever they need, whatever they can do over at Operation Tackle Box, they will do. Whether it's VA claims, GI bills, get them taken care of, and showing them, hey man, you're not alone. They're also starting off at off-road, side-by-side kind of, I can't remember the name of it. It'll come to me later, probably later. But anyway, so y'all go check out Operation Tackle Box, operationtacklebox.org. I'll put the link in the show notes below and a link over on Instagram and Facebook as well. Y'all comment below what your favorite Waylon Jennings song is or Buddy Holly song. Let me know what you think. If y'all have any other comments or questions or anything, shoot me an email, shoot me a comment, Facebook and Instagram. foreverroadpodcast@gmail.com. And for those of you who have my phone number, shoot me a text. I'll find a way to do a phone number to Forever Road. Do a live call-in session just to have a little bit of difference, you know? Anyway, all right, that's enough. I love y'all. Once again, I will see y'all next week. I love y'all. Peace.
Thanks for riding with us on the FRP, the Forever Road Podcast, with Bosco. You can find and follow us on Instagram and Facebook, or drop us a line or question anytime at foreverroadpodcast@gmail.com. See you next time right here on the Forever Road Podcast.